It's race weekend with yours truly, the F1 Money Gang podcast, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy Sports. If you sign up with the Underdog Fantasy code F1 Money Gang, you get 100% match deposit, or you can use the URL links, which will be below in the actual description pages. So here we are, episode 6, the Monaco Grand Prix. It's supposed to be the most prestigious race on the calendar. As most of us would say, it's probably the most boring race on the calendar, I guess. Um,
Agreed.
yeah, it is. Let's be real. Although I'm very pumped about this weekend because it is one of the. I feel like this really starts kicking off race, just motorsports as a whole. You have the Indy 500, you have the Monaco Grand Prix, and then I think in a couple weeks or next week we have Le Mans. So this is a beautiful weekend for us in the F1 Money Gang. But we are here to focus only on F1, which is Monaco. So we got our own Dolcetto and
Hello.
Renegade. But before we get into our crew, let's kind of go through the stats here. 78 laps, 19 corners, 1 DRS zone. So it's not going to be your typical, low downforce setup track. Probably the slowest circuit on the calendar. Yeah, high downforce, kind of boring, not much overtaking. So everything is going to really come down to qualifying. We have the C3, C4, C5 compounds. As far as the weather this weekend, we've been on watch all week. We are expecting maybe some rain coming in. It looks like Sunday. Listen, every 5 minutes the report changes, and we don't know what to expect. But it's calling for some kind of rain. So yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about. Actually, before we go into Monaco. Been a couple weeks. Unfortunately, we weren't going to get a race for Imola. Let's kind of go back just very quickly to the Miami Grand Prix. I did want to just round table.
Yeah.
The biggest backlash was this was a boring race for Miami. However, it had, I think, the most overtakes out of the
Yeah.
entire series. So Dolcetto, what is your thoughts on the Miami Grand Prix?
My take on the street races. Not a fan of them. I'm not looking forward to this coming up race. I know it's the most iconic race coming up, the Monaco, but I feel like the street races are boring, but they're good for betting because I feel like boring races. Nobody expected, everybody to finish the race, and we were all cashing on the overs, and it was a good betting weekend. I did not enjoy it. There was a couple of fights here and there. I did enjoy our sim race more than the Miami race, to be honest with you. And if you guys haven't watched the sim race, it is available on Twitch, and I'm gonna be uploading it on YouTube tonight after this episode. But I'm looking forward to another race. In Monaco, like you said, it's one of the most iconic ones. It's always a big, exciting weekend. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, that's been kind of most people's perspective. Renegade, what is your thoughts on that Miami race?
I thought it was made better because Max was started. Where did he start? Eighth or something on the grid,
Ninth.
and then he had to move forward ninth.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
But you knew pretty soon he was going to get Perez after lap 10 or something. But if it wasn't for that, it would have been much worse. I feel like Grand Prix entertainment is decided on at the front. Like, if there was a great midfield battle, people would still probably say it was boring.
Yeah, and I think that's where I kind of stood with this. Like in the beginning, I think it really also really comes back to how how are they actually showing it on TV? Because most of the time, I guess it depends on who you ask, whether it's ESPN, Sky, F1 TV, and let's be honest, I'm only watching on F1 TV. But I mean, there was still some entertainment in the overtaking. Like I mentioned this on the podcast I was on last week. Most people tend to focus on who's going to win in a motorsports race for sure. especially if you're a casual fan. You just want to know who's the horse that's going to win. That's it. But if you're actually into it, there's a story to be told throughout the entire grid. I mean, every race there's only one winner, so you can really claim all the races will be boring at the end of the day. But if you kind of just open up your mind a little bit, watch what's actually happening for the battle for a podium, for instance, third, fourth place, fifth and sixth, even. I mean, even last year, going back to last year, it came down to the wire for McLaren and Alpine, right? Like, it was really a battle, and these teams are actually really battling for money at the end of the day. So,
Oh yeah, I mean,
uh,
even in Miami last week, I mean, the last race, I can't remember who it was, but there was a battle for 8th, 9th, 10th place, almost
yeah,
last 20 laps. And like you said, it could be boring to some people, but for us betters, it was exciting and kind of, going back and forth. I think it was Hulk, Gasly, even Stroll came in the mix very late. Yuki
yeah,
came in for
Yeah,
the
I think
points.
Yuki and
Yuki,
Stroll had the late charge for the points that they
Yeah,
yeah.
didn't make.
yeah, and I think Yuki got in, right? I think Yuki got 10th.
Did he get 10th?
I
I
Yeah, I
think
think
can't remember his 10th or
11th. I
11th.
think.
11th,
At
yeah, yeah,
11th?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so it
He
was
was
11th.
trying. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was exciting race. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. So, well, just wanted to get that quick perspective, have some people, because I know that was a topic. And, but as far as the wagers go, I don't have everyone's wager in front of me, but I do want to focus in on our community bet where we all were in on Stroll. It was was it top six or top
a
10?
top 10 because he
Top
started
10.
18th. So we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
hoping for him to.
Top 10.
He actually had a very good last 10 laps. He was pushing hard, but I just earlier on it was just the whole DRS train, and he could not get over. Like it was, like I
Yeah.
was like, yep, it was dead as soon as I saw it. I was hoping at the end,
You
but
needed a safety. He needed a safety to bail us out. Unfortunately, didn't happen. So our community bet right now is 17-5 all time. Yeah. So we were kind of disappointed, but you know what, guys? We deserve that, right?
yeah,
Like we all deserve it. This is what happens when you back a guy like Stroll. We should have just stuck
You
with
can't
what
win
we
them
did
all.
well. Yeah, it's just is what it is. But either way, I think we'll bounce back. What are we for the season? Like 4-2? What are
yeah.
we looking at?
No, we're 3-2.
3-2, three and
Yeah,
two. So we'll bounce
unfortunately,
back.
yeah,
It should be 4-1. Let's
yeah,
just be real.
yeah.
Should be 4-1. I will not talk about that one. But anyways, yeah. So a lot of us had a successful Miami Grand Prix here. I know from the entire weekend. Yeah, it was a good one. But that's neither here nor there. This is the time. Oh, I did want to come back very quickly to Sim Race. It was a success. We did have an F1 Money Gang Sim Race on F1 2022. We were live streaming it. We felt like it would have been fun to just casually all of us enjoy it. We had 18 on the grid. We could have had easily 22 or well 20, but
Yep.
and we plan to do another one for the Canadian Grand Prix. So if you want to sign up or play, join our Discord. We'll be happy to have you on board. It was a lot of fun, really was. So
Yeah, and I believe Chris already put the schedule out in the Discord for what dates we're planning on doing it. If anything
yeah,
changes, of course, we'll let you know.
yeah,
And I'm
a lot of
sorry
fun.
in advance if I switched to the cameras too fast, but it was the first time I was doing it. And I was talking to myself the whole time because I had to mute everybody that was in the race because you guys were in the chat, I believe. But
Yeah,
it was very hard for me to focus because I was trying to go back and forth. I tried my best, but I apologize in advance if it was too fast.
I laughed when I saw how many people jumped the line and ended up with a penalty at the beginning. So
Yeah.
that lucked out
I
for
thought
me.
the game went wrong.
Oh yeah,
I thought it glitched out.
it was like 4 or 5 different people at the start.
Yep. You
That,
guys had
that
the drive-through penalty, right?
I didn't. I waited. I was able to get up to podium at one point, but I was just not. I could not keep up with those guys up front, man. There were some really good drivers on there.
And we don't
Um,
want to talk about Chris's performance because he's gonna get,
oh
he's not
yeah.
gonna be happy.
Not at all.
That's why
But
he's been excluded from this podcast.
that's why he didn't want to show up. We'd be roasting him.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. That's great. No, but just one thing on the camera view at the start, if there's a way we can see everyone, that would have been hilarious because it was kind of a cluster. But fun times. Again, we plan on doing it for the Canadian Grand Prix. I think it's in a couple weeks, I
I believe
believe.
June 10th. Yeah,
June 10th
I think he mentioned a June 10th, or I'm not
or
sure exact
11th.
date.
But
Yeah,
it will be around that same weekend, and we plan to do it again. So please join us for that. All right, but that's not the Monaco GP. So we got the Monaco GP. Before we kind of get into our picks and whatnot, which I know everyone wants, I do want to just quickly go around and get everyone's input on what you expect from the Grand Prix, whether it's rain or not. Like, what are you expecting? And Renegade, we'll start with you.
So I would say I'm expecting a much closer field at the top between Red Bull, Ferrari, and Alonso. I'd say that the odds have already taken that into account because you can get plus odds on Max, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's just one Red Bull, one Ferrari, and then one Aston Martin on the podium. I don't know what order, but that wouldn't surprise me.
All right. Yeah, I think that's been kind of the consensus we've been sharing with each other is we don't know what to really expect for the top even five. But I can see that for sure. I think we've been talking at lengths about. I've been switching. I'm like, oh wait, I think Alonso is going to be first. No, Leclerc. No, maybe it's Perez. I don't know. But Dolcetto, what are your thoughts?
Well, we just don't know what to expect from Mercedes here. We were supposed to see those updates in the last race. What are we expecting here? What's the setups gonna be here in Monaco? I'm really curious because I feel like I was looking at some odds, and some of these odds, to me, they're not giving a Mercedes even a chance to be in the top six for even Russell or individual odds or Lewis. So I'm excited to see what happens there. So we could maybe see a value if they don't do too well into Q3. I was reading a few articles. They were saying that Mercedes is going to struggle to get into Q3, which is hard to believe. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And of course, the whole hype with Aston Martin all week. I've been reading that everybody's on Alonso. It would be nice to see something different because we're kind of don't want to keep seeing the Red Bulls at the top, but it will be an exciting race because one accident at Monaco can cause chaos. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm excited about it, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Mercedes got with those updates. Are they bad or are they good?
Yeah, and there's obviously a lot of hype in the upgrades because of the new side pod. It's no longer zero pod.
Ooh, yay!
Ooh. But let's temper expectations,
Yeah.
guys. I mean, upgrades, whether it's drastic or small, these are not things that you just overnight, and especially that they are at a disadvantage because they can't test it at a proper track. We're talking about a street course that they're going to try to test this thing. So
Yeah,
it's tough. I've been going back and forth because this is I know this could be a track that should better suit Mercedes. I really should, because they don't need to have. You don't need to have all that top end speed. You don't. I mean, they should be able to get around in the corners pretty fast. I mean, tire temps are still questionable, of course, and that goes back to the upgrades, right? Like, they're doing all this rework on their suspension. How is that going to impact their tire temps, right? Is it going to make it worse? Is it going to make it better? And who's to say that these new pods are just going to immediately give them a gain of 0.2? Who's to say? It's not the ideal situation for them. It's a definite wild card for them. I know that a lot of people would go in. Listen, if you're going to bet Mercedes, hey, have at it. But just know that is just, you're kind of throwing a dart really with this situation. So, but yeah, a lot of hype on Aston Martin. Even I was on that hype, but I've kind of scaled back as the week has gone on. The narratives have all just been being told everywhere, and I'm the type that if you start hearing that narrative in the general public, you might want to reconsider. So let me just say, Twitterverse has been calling for like Perez, Leclerc, Alonso. Now I'm starting to question like, why are we discounting Max? I know Max hasn't done as well here, but what's to say that he doesn't pull one through this weekend and still? I mean, he's still the fastest guy on the grid, has the fastest car. I mean, he should be zeroed in. So I'm going to be very interested to see about like where. I still think it is going to be kind of a mix up, and then throw in any rain that will definitely change things up. So
Yeah, and I see the first time I looked at the odds for the winner, and I saw Max at plus money. It
yeah,
was like at plus 115, I think. I was like, hold on, what am I missing here? I know the odds got lowered, but I was like, wow,
I've been
nobody's a
tempted.
fan of
I've
Max.
been tempted. I've been, but Renegade and I have been even talking about it all week. I'm like, why shouldn't I just do plus 125 right now? Why
Yeah,
shouldn't I?
yeah,
But he continuously talks sense to me. He's like my therapist sometimes in the F1 Money gang. He's just like, because
in
if
a
he
good way.
if he doesn't nail qualifying, you're just going to get better odds. So just be patient. And I love that because uh, in this sport and betting, you've got to have patience, right? And I'm just being patient. That's it. Although I
yeah.
seems like my patience got lost and I ended up with 4 FP bets. So here we are.
And I think after FP1, the odds are just going to go everywhere for
Yeah.
outright. I mean, if it's like Leclerc, Alonso, Perez, Max odds are just going to go through the roof, and
Yeah.
it's not going to be representative of anything.
Yeah. I think that's
And he's still got the same chance as he does today.
yeah. Yeah. I'd rather pay the premium at like a 120 minus 120, than just to say I can get them at plus 125, I guess. You know, and it's not my goal, right? My goal is not to just hit on the winner. I want to hit on the head-to-heads more than anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, a few long shots. But let's go into our round table. Like, let's go with our best picks so far. Dolcetto, what do you have, if you have
Uh,
one
no,
yet?
I do, and I placed it. I haven't put it in the Discord. And as you know, please get in the Discord because that's when I hate to place bets early in the week. But if you're in the Discord, you can see us all there on Saturday after qualifying. Everybody's putting bets. So, but what I got here is a two driver head to head in a parlay, and it's minus 119 at Bet Rivers. Yuki to beat Nick and Alonso to beat Stroll here. Looking at the stats, excuse me, I apologize. So far this season, Yuki has beaten Nick without any issues, without a problem, even starting 6 places behind Nick last race. Yuki was able to beat him with these. He's 5-0 so far this season during the race weekend. Same goes with Alonso. Alonso, he has got a history here. He has won it here before. He's also perfect 5-0 on a race weekend against Stroll. We all know the Stroll can make one error and mess up a race here. Nick, I know, has won it here when he was in F2, I believe, or F3. I can't remember. I was reading that. I
Yeah,
know he won
F2.
F2. Yeah, he won it, but this is a different car. This to me here is it's a very hard to overtake track. So I feel like head to heads, if you could get an opportunity to, if you believe that somebody's gonna start ahead of somebody else in the qualifiers, and I believe that it's gonna be very hard to overtake again. Red flags happen, safety cars happen, anything can happen. But I believe, looking at it now, I expect Yuki to finish higher than Nick, and so does Alonso against Stroll. So at minus 119, I know you got to pay a little bit of juice, but like me, this is my
Mm-hmm.
favorite bets. I'll pay the
Mm.
juice if I am confident. So that's what I
Yeah.
like.
No, it's you're my I call my head or not my head to head. Well, I guess head-to-head parlay guy, our parlay guy. Let's just say
No, you want to
you
say
have
the top 10 guy.
the
Remember?
top. Oh
I
yeah,
do bet the points finish a lot. And
you do. But I mean, lately you've been hitting on those. Just
six
you
and
just
one last
find,
race. Just saying.
yeah, you're just
Not to
getting those
brag.
parlays. Yeah, getting in on those.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Oh, that's
So
awesome. I can't, unfortunately, but everyone listening, get on his picks,
yeah.
especially the parlay ones. Renegade, what you got, my man? What's your favorite?
So
Let's
I'd
go with
say
your favorite one.
my favourite,
Mhm.
the odds are on, but Charles Leclerc to win Monaco Grand Prix. The curse has been lifted,
Oh yeah,
but I think earlier in the week he was like 9.0 plus 800. I think at them odds it was worth it because then if you got that each way, you get two places on that. And I think he's finished on pole twice, 2 years in a row, and 1 year was in a car that was midfield. So clearly he has some talent around here. So I think if Ferrari have a bad FP1 or just Leclerc has a bad FP1, then the odds will probably drift out, and you'll get some value on that.
yeah. That one even too. Like, what was it? Even last week, where someone was posting in the Discord and was like, "Hey, Caesars has Leclerc at 12-1," and Renegade and I were like, "Excuse me, what?" Um, Unfortunately, I didn't have access to that line, and I'm absolutely jealous that you were able to get it. Um, but yeah, just so people are know, this is why you should join the Discord, is because you post a line, we'll tell you if you should be taking it or not. But 12-1 was absolute crushing value, and now what are we at? 3-1, 4-1? I don't
yeah.
even know.
I
Yeah, around
haven't
that
seen the
price.
latest odds. Yeah, I'm not sure.
And then on top of that, someone brought up Alonso, and I think that was you, Renegade. And at that same time, we're like, oh yeah, you should definitely be taking. The odds are too high, right, for Monaco. I think that was like 9 or 10-1. Well, now
Yeah,
he's down to 4.5, 5-1, right? Like depends on where. So again, get in the Discord. We are constantly shopping lines across all books if you want to get it. But um, I'm very jealous. I'm not. I really want that 12-1, but I can't find myself to want to bet Leclerc at this point. No, so the train is gone. I'm not going to touch that 3-1, 4-1, or whatever it's at. So,
yeah.
um,
I don't think at this lower price,
no,
not 3-1.
no. If I'm gonna try to find a long shot, I'm gonna be looking at like free practice qualifying at this point. That's it. Maybe there might be a race, but I don't think I have a whole lot for race day odds yet because I'm still concerned about what are we expecting for the weather. I don't know. I really don't. So, okay. So for me, oh man, for favorite one, I'm gonna just go to I'm gonna chalk it to the classified drivers over 16 and a half.
That has been a
Uh,
fan favorite, I think, too.
Yeah, and that was why I was afraid. Like, do I even talk about this here? But I think I should. I think it's just a good price. Over 16 and a half classified drivers. I was able to get it at minus 115. I don't know what most books have it at now. I think there's a lot of overreaction, and this is one of my favorite markets, by the way. Like when I'm trying to look at markets, this is one that I always go to first. And I was actually surprised they had it priced this low. I thought it would be at like at least maybe 140, 135, minus 135, something like that. But whether there's rain or not, I still like the price. I mean, the last three races here, dating back to 2019, one DNF, 2021, two DNFs, 2022, when there was rain, there was only three DNFs. So giving me at minus 115, and we've had other races throughout the year where we've seen even up to minus 175 for over 16 and a half. I mean, this to me, like no overtaking. I don't expect a lot of risks to be taken uh, by these drivers in the race. Most of the risk will be taken in qualifying, and maybe we get a better number even. I will double down if I get a better number if there's a bunch of wrecks during qualifying. But for the most part, you can't. You can't overtake it. So it's hard to take that risk. It's hard to send it into a corner because most of the drivers just won't do that. So I don't expect that to happen. I don't, just given the lack of overtaking opportunities. So over 16 and a half. And there's some others that are even liking the others, which I might actually tail into that as well. Like 17 and a half, maybe 18 and a half, just depends on what the odds are showing. I think the last time I saw 18 and a half was about 7 or 8 to 1, which will be interesting. I don't expect that to hit. I expect 2 DNFs. I don't expect more than that, but yeah. So that's probably my favorite one right now.
Yeah, and I think that Jinxie was the one who mentioned in the last race, if you bet over 19 and a half, I think it was like 12 to 1.
Yeah,
And it's like, I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, nobody will bet
what are
that, but
let's be real. To have no DNFs in Miami was absolutely incredible.
it won't happen again.
I don't remember the last time it's happened, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like that's how long it's been since I've seen all 20 on the grid.
Agreed.
But then that makes me wonder, why are you pricing it at 115? Like it doesn't make sense.
Well,
like after
yeah, it's.
having,
I mean, the 7. I think it was 17 and a half, right, or 16 and a half last race, because I bet it.
I bet
can't
16 and a
remember.
half last.
Yeah, it was like even money, right? And you know, like, it was great odds. I also bet it with you, and I think it was a great bet. So
Yeah, for sure.
and I like it this week. I already bet it when I seen everybody on it on the Discord.
Yeah, I mean,
so
we're all. It's likely that is definitely
community
probably going to be.
bet.
It's probably a community bet.
Yeah,
So yeah, for sure. It's my favorite one so far.
nice. I like
Yeah,
it.
And I feel like that book's always price up. Like there's going to be destruction all the time. Like
all
Baku, Miami.
Yeah,
Like how come Monaco be priced up the same as Miami for classified runners when
yeah.
Monaco they're barely going any speed, and then once they're in their racing positions, that's basically it.
That's it. Yeah,
They're not doing anything else.
yeah. No,
agreed.
absolutely, and that's where I'm gonna. That's why I couldn't say no, and just like I got to take this right now. Anyways, I've actually been tempted to put more, but I'm said no. We'll be all right. But yeah, so we've done a round. Let's. I actually want to bring a free Money Friday since Integrity isn't here. I'd like to bring a free Money Friday bet
There you go.
because we do have practice early tomorrow morning. This one was like one that I was like, holy cow, I don't understand why it's this price. I may hate my life tomorrow if it doesn't hit, but it just doesn't make any sense. And thank you, Dolcetto, for helping me out with this one. But it is Lando Norris, even money against Ocon in free practice one. Why is it he's even money to Ocon? I have no idea. I know that there's a lot of overreaction to McLaren in how they are a tractor of a car, whatever you want to call it. But we're not at Miami. We're not at Baku. There are no long straights. And just a stat for you guys. Monaco in 2021. This was the performance for Lando Norris. FP1, he finished P7. FP2, he finished P6. FP3, he finished P6. Qualified 6th and ended up 3rd on podium for the race in 2021. Last year, FP1, P4, FP2, P5, FP3, P6, qualified 5th, and finished 6th in the race. 6th.
Yep.
And this was a pretty, I mean, we had 3 good teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
This year, you know where Ocon has been in every FP1 session? He's been 10th or higher. So you're going to give me even money on Ocon with this trend? Of course I'm going to take that. So, and to kind of go back through it, I think I was kind of floating around the whole Norris versus Gasly odds. I think he was minus 140 against Gasly. So that doesn't make sense. but Ocon was even to Gasly, which I bet too as well. So there's another one for you guys. I bet Gasly over Ocon. So basically, I'm just fading Ocon. I
Yeah.
love you, Big Cat, but you don't do well in FP1s, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, a knock on him. It's just maybe
Yeah.
he's doing testing, maybe he's doing something else. The odds just didn't make sense. I really loved Norris over Ocon. That's on DraftKings, even money. So that was my FP1 play for you. Sponsored by Mech,
And
but he
and I
didn't.
want to add to that for for the FP1 lovers, since they are tomorrow morning in the US in North
Yeah,
America. I'm gonna just read them out to you quickly. Lights Out has put out some great picks. They're also on the website from everybody in the group. But I want to just read you what they have for FP1. There's explanation for each pick in the Discord, so please get in the Discord. But I want to read them to you, and you could tell, you could fade, whatever you want to do. So Lights Out has Alonso FP1 winner at plus 600 each way, which is the third or better at bet 365. He also has Gasly to beat excuse me, Ocon in FP1 as you did. He
mm-hmm.
also has Gasly at plus 1600 to be a top
Mm-hmm.
three. Lando Norris also has plus 2500 in the top three in FP1.
Mm-hmm.
He also has a parlay Alonso to beat Stroll and Norris to beat Piastri in FP1 at minus 140 on bet 99. Bottas to beat Guan Yu
Yeah,
at
Joe. Yep.
FP1 as well as minus 135. And I think that he had Perez to beat Max at plus 180 in FP1. You
Yeah.
could read all the write up on every pick in the Discord. I just wanted to mention them to you because we did the article earlier, and just wanted to mention to everybody who is a FP1 better. So
I think
just wanted that.
this is the most head-to-head FP1 bets I've had this year. I'm also on the Botas Joe at minus 135. That's on Bovada. The price was so good for.
Yeah,
I don't want to say so good. Let's just say it was good.
yeah,
I think that was roughly around 175 on most books. The Perez Max, I think Thomas or T-Man
yep,
in our Discord, he was pretty high on that one. There was a little value on that one as well, so we all just kind of rode that one.
yep.
I'm actually very intrigued with the Norris top three. Not gonna lie, I think I might take a stab at that one.
It's good odds.
What
Why
price is
It's
not?
that?
that's at 25 to 1 is what he
Yeah,
has that. That's
yep.
I might actually take a stab at that
Hmm.
for and it just goes back to like look at I mean Norris has been sixth or better in all the sessions. Oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry. FP1 in 2021 he was seventh. Every other session he was sixth, fifth, third, fourth. Like
Just never
he's
know.
pretty good. He's pretty
Never
good. And
know.
then it's not about and we know his car will be capable. He just needs a car that can just drive, really.
Yeah.
Which we know it should be fine. He doesn't need the speed here. It's just you need to be competent enough, and that's what this track is about.
Yeah, and I did listen to another podcast earlier in the week, another F1 podcast, and they were that actually Zach Brown was on there talking about the car, and they're
Mhm.
super excited about the reliability of the car, and they said that they're expecting bigger things at Monaco.
Let me tell you
So we'll
something.
see.
We see it, and this is like I kind of relate to NFL, right? There's the preseason in the NFL, and then the first 4 to 6 weeks, teams are still trying to figure themselves out, right?
Yep.
Ironing out the kinks. This is exactly how F1 also works,
Yep.
guys. I mean, it is the same exact way. They methodically go through each race and making sure, and we're just now about to hit peak of the season in the next month. And this is where we're going to start seeing the teams really start coming out. And, so you got to take what happens in the first like 4 races as teams are going to go through some growing pains,
Yep.
and then it starts flushing out as the summer season goes on. So,
Great.
um, Renegade, do you have another pick you'd like to announce?
So I do like Carlos Sainz in this race. So I've put some on him to finish on the podium at plus 330. He's finished on second in the last two Monacos. He seems to have a head for strategy because in the last race when it was raining, he did want to do the two stops that everyone did. He just went from straight from wets to hards, which would have been the winning strategy, but he was behind Latifi on his outlap and he didn't move out the way. But either way, he qualifies well. He's been ahead of Leclerc many times, out qualified him many times this season, and that's all you need. He's probably going to be in the top five. He has a decent enough chance to be in the top three.
The signs train. You think it's gonna happen?
I think it's better than the odds.
And what odds did you say you had that?
Plus 330.
Oof, that's awesome. Yeah, man, you got access to awesome books. I'm just absolutely jealous. I would probably.
Time for you
I'd be
to
like
move.
yeah, I'd be a kid in the candy store. I'd probably go broke the first month with how many markets I'd be offered, and then realize, wow, that was dumb.
It's overwhelming, though. I tell you.
It can be. It can be.
Overwhelming.
All right. Well, let's talk about a long shot bet. I mean, long shot. There was one from Lights Out where actually he had two. Gasly top three and Norris top three. Gasly 16-1 to top in the top three of FP1. Norris 25-1. What are two long shots that you guys like?
Rene, you want to go?
Yeah, just thinking. I don't want to repeat signs again, but signs at
Oh, I mean
plus
that could be it.
2600.
That could be it. If you think that's the one that like, hey, I'm gonna go place my entire 401k on right now, what's the one you have the most faith in?
Definitely not Carlos Sainz win, but I'm not against. I'm not against Gasly top six. He's like plus 500, plus 400. He's good quality.
For
He's
the
better
race.
qualifier than Ocon in the
For the
race.
race.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
he's a better qualifier than Ocon. And I saw a graph from low corner and speed to Red Bull and Alpine are pretty high up on there. It's not impossible.
Yeah. So top six, I'm seeing 3-1 for Pierre Gasly.
About that.
That's what
And I
I
think it's 3.5 to 1 available.
or 3.5. Yep. No, sorry, 3.5. Yeah. Okay. That is tempting. I'd rather put. Honestly, I'd rather put Norris.
Plus
5-1.
500.
Man,
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
don't do that.
No,
It's a
don't do
financial
that.
advice. Don't do that.
See, this is my therapist told me. My F1 Money Gang therapist told me no, so I'm not doing it. Why is Lance Stroll minus 120? God, there's a lot. Oh, speaking of, one of our members is just banging his hands on the table about fading Lance Stroll. This is probably the weekend to fade him. And watch, he's probably going to come out and get like P3 and show us pain because
That's what he does.
Yes.
That's what he does.
But Jinx has been just banging his hands on the table. Stroll going to struggle. Totally agreed, by the way. I have no disagreement with that. I think that he just struggles a lot in a lot of races, but especially in street courses like this, Monaco, just never really had a good performance. I think there's a lot of hype with the car versus the actual driver in this situation.
And I was looking at Stroll's podium odds. He's 10 to 1. I was like, oh, maybe. I mean, if Alonso can do it, can Stroll do it? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm going to do a long shot, I'm honestly, well, definitely not going to do top 10s. I don't know. Do you have one, Dolcetto?
Well, mine is not really a long shot. It's it's plus 150 because I just saw it. It was one of my other favorite bets. It wasn't a long shot. I mean, I did see the Lando Norris. The top six was like plus 500, but again, I would not touch that. But it's plus 150, no red flag in the race.
Ooh.
I was looking at that, and I bet it last week, and it won with ease, as you know what happened.
Mhm.
There was
Mhm.
nothing, and you're giving me plus 150 odds for something that might or might not happen. You flip a coin, and I don't know. To me, this race is gonna need a major accident for the race to be stopped. I mean, I guess I don't want to say a major because it's a very tight track. But last year, Latifi was the reason why there was a red flag. He's not there anymore. Newer there's like I mentioned before, newer drivers on the grid being more cautious with these cars. We have a lot of experienced drivers out there. Unless something crazy happens and there's a big accident, at those odds, I'll do it. Plus 150 on Bovada.
Ah, I might actually do that. I'm actually tempted to do some of the others too. That we were talking to the 17 and a half.
Yeah.
Might actually get to that. So I know we're just getting about time. I honestly, I don't have a long shot that I like really the most. If I'm gonna pick one though, um, it's not even a long shot. I mean, I've let's go to qualifying for very quick. Let's see. Is there supposed to be rain? Are they like talking about
Who
any rain on
knows?
Saturday? Like
So I think probably not. That's the consensus.
probably not. Like listen, if I'm gonna have to put my money somewhere on a long shot, I will stick to Renegade's theme with Carlos Sainz, that the 20 to 1 fastest qualifier, I guess. Uh, Disclosure, I haven't bet that. I'm not planning on betting it, but that if there is one, that's probably one I would eye. Although the fastest qualifier 5 to 1 Alonso doesn't seem that terrible, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really into it. If there's one that I do like, it's going to be the Norris top 3 practice and Gasly top 3 practice too. Norris more than Gasly.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was fun. I know we've just for our listeners, we have articles out. Obviously, this podcast. Come into the Discord. There's constant activity in the Discord where we're talking lines. If you're just not sure or have questions, or you want to just tout whatever picks you have, come in here. We'll be able to have fun and also have Indy 500 picks too as well. Come in if you are an Indy 500 fan. We'll have some picks between Mech and I. Um, yeah, I think
I
that's all
just
I
want to
got.
mention one thing. With the Discord, there's always new users coming and new members joining. The more the people, the more the brains we get, the more sharp lines we see. So just getting the Discord, let's help each other out.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
also, to talk about Imola for just one moment is if you're interested in making donations for the region where Imola is located, you could go to the F1 website and you could see there's link for donations. I know that they got really hit, so I'm pretty sure that any donation will be well used over there. So just wanted to bring that up.
Absolutely. Well, guys, it's a pleasure. We have lots of Formula One coming up this year or the next month. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah,
All
we'll
right.
see you guys in the morning,
Yep.
bright
See
and
you later.
early.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Yep.